Hi everyone, welcome to the video, and I'm going to be talking about my thoughts, my feelings, a little bit of a review, if you will, of the CD set that has just come out. It's the Let It Be Deluxe Edition, 50th anniversary, if you will, and of course it's the remix by Giles Martin and Sam O'Kell, and let's get into it pretty quick. But before I start, I want to tell you that, of course, I'm basing this review based on the CD listen, okay? I have not played the vinyl. I'll leave that to somebody else. I know there's already been a vinyl video by my friend Alan C. Records, and I think other people are going to be making videos on that. Now, as a lot of people know when they watch my channel, I live in a small apartment right now. Hope to eventually be out of here in a bigger house. So I can't really play the music at the volume that I want. So I usually listen in my car. Okay, and a lot of people kind of scoff at that and say, well, how could you listen in your car? Well, I have a really very good sound system in my car. Believe me, the CD system is great there. I'm going to miss it when I have to give it up because new cars don't have CD players installed. But anyway, so we're talking about CD here, and from the beginning, I want to make it clear that, you know, this is just going to be my opinion, the way my ears hear this, because everybody hears things differently, and it depends on how you listen, you know, whether you're listening on a streaming device, whether you're listening on vinyl, CD, at home, in your car, whatever your system is like. Are you listening on headphones or not on headphones? I mean, there's so many factors here. Even myself, I've played this now 3 times, the new album. Played 3 times, and I've had different experiences in different times. So if I had based this following review just based on one single listen, it maybe wouldn't have been accurate. So I don't really even know exactly where I stand, but I'll do the best I can. Okay, when it comes to Giles Martin, I have to say, I've always had mixed feelings about the Giles Martin mixes. I guess I have to say at this point that when I hear some remixes by Giles, I feel as though it's depending on the song in particular. Some songs I love the mix. Some songs I do not like the mix. And it's always been a mixed bag like that for me with Giles Martin. And I have to say, this new edition of Let It Be is the same thing. I have some hits, I have some misses. I think it's kind of a mixed bag. I think for me personally, I think Sgt. Pepper was probably the one I appreciated the most. And right now, as of this date, I would say that probably the Beatles' White Album is the one I appreciated the least. Although there was some stuff on there that I liked the mixes to. So, okay, that's setting up the groundwork here to let you know where I'm at. And that's pretty much the deal. Again, just my opinions here, and I'm going to start by saying that the Blu-ray that comes with this 6-disc, edition on the 5-inch discs, there's a Blu-ray. I have not played the Blu-ray because I have a Blu-ray player, but I'm just watching it through my flat-screen television. I don't think that's the best sound, so I'm going to skip over the Blu-ray, and I'm going to let someone else talk about the Blu-ray. There's many videos out there, I'm sure, and there are going to be more. All right, so I'll start with the proper album, the Let It Be 2021 remix, if you will. Whoops, don't lose the discs. Okay, so here we go. All right, starting off, listening in my car, and I'm listening to the first 2 tracks, 2 of Us and Dig a Pony. And as I'm listening to these 2 tracks, the first thing that hits me, and not in a good way, I gotta be honest at first, was, well, I listen pretty loud. I have the system up pretty loud. And when the drums came crashing in for 2 of Us, I thought they were way too high. Now, everybody knows I love Ringo. I'm a big Ringo Starr fan. And one thing that's always kind of disappointed me was that on the original Beatles recordings, especially the early stuff, 63, 64, and 65 a lot, I wish Ringo's drums were brought louder, and I love that on so many of these mixes that we're getting from Giles, that we're getting Ringo's drums more prominent. And Ringo said this in interviews. You can hear the drums now, he says, which is great. But for some reason, on my first listen to 2 of Us and I Dig a Pony, the drums just were overwhelming to me, way too loud. And the bass and drums just overpowering. Now, I listen to my bass. I don't want to sound like this is Spinal Tap here, talking about how this goes up to 11 or whatever it is. But when I listen to my car stereo, I listen pretty high, you know what I mean? And the bass goes to 10, and I usually listen on 8, 9, or 10. I like a lot of bass, I also like a lot of treble. I'm a big treble guy. I like the bass and treble up high. But anyway, be that as it may, forget it. There was no listening to this on a 9 or 10 on a bass. No way. I found the only way to endure this was to take the bass, for me, on the CD, way down to 0 or even in the minus. I was even in the minus. Maybe I could settle. Eventually I settled for +2, +3 maybe. Now the first listen, I didn't like Two of Us or I Dig a Pony. I'm mentioning the first 2 tracks together. Dig a Pony in particular, I thought was very, very, at first, I'm going to say at first for a reason. At first I thought it was kind of really drowned out with too much. I thought Dig a Pony was very much distorted. So this is way too distorted. Then the next day, I played the disc again, and when I played the disc again, I was like, that's strange. Two of Us isn't so bad. Neither was Dig a Pony. What was I thinking? This is what I'm talking about when, you try to be consistent, try to be exact, but it depends on your mood. It depends on the day. I said, was this the same disc? Oh, yeah, it is the same disc. So I don't know. I didn't mind it the second. I was more open to Two of Us and Dig a Pony. Sometimes I wonder if Giles Martin is trying to appease Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr with the bass and drums because, they're the two surviving Beatles who are here with us right now, and he wants to make sure he does right by them. I've often thought that. But anyway, yeah, Two of Us is not bad. I Dig a Pony. I would say I Dig a Pony might be the most I don't know, distorted, maybe a little too overwhelmed. I think your mileage, will vary. Now the third track is Across the Universe, and it's okay. When you listen to Two of Us and you listen to Dig a Pony, then you get to Across the Universe, you could tell the difference as far as the recording. I mean, it's different time and everything. But, John sounds almost like he's in another place, his voice, in a tin can or something. I don't know. Subsequent listens, by the time I got to the third listen of Across the Universe, I began to appreciate it. But, I don't know. You could hear a lot of that ambiance and that kind of mystery, cosmic feeling that comes from all that orchestration and stuff on it. I should also mention, before I forget, this is not a despectorized effort here. So if anybody here is wondering, is there going to be all the Phil Spector stuff wiped out? No, it's not the case. It still retains the Phil Spector stuff, at least to my ears. Okay, remember, it's individual, subjective, completely subjective. So the first 3 tracks didn't really knock me for a loop, to be honest with you. But the 4th track, I Me Mine, I thought that was great. I've listened to I Me Mine many times in my life, and I thought this was one of the best ways I've ever heard it. I liked I Me Mine. It was one of my favorite tracks on this new remix. More alive than ever. It came alive. And especially Ringo's drums, you see. Where I'm saying earlier that Ringo's drums, maybe they were too much on the first couple of songs here. I think that they sound great. I could hear all kinds of little nuances on Ringo's drums in this, and I just savored every little beat and every major thump. I really loved all the nuances of his drums here. I Me Mine is a real winner. Now we have Dig It. Of course, Dig It is just a small snippet. It's only like 50 seconds, maybe, something like that. And there's not much to say about it, but it is louder. It is louder, and it is in your face. And that's the thing about this whole mix. They call it the loudness wars, sometimes competing for volume. Everything is very loud. Everything's very boisterous. Everything's very in your face. But Dig It is better because it's louder in this case. Maggie May, I'll go ahead to Maggie May. Same thing. Maggie May, just a snippet of a little song, just a fragment. But Maggie May and Dig It both sound louder, up front, in your face. They're good. Now, I'm happy to say that Let It Be, the song, fantastic. Let It Be, the song, may be the crowning achievement on this, and I'm happy to say that because Let It Be is a classic song. Let It Be sounds wonderful, thankfully. Paul's voice is majestic on this. He sounds so beautiful. The guitar solo that I love, my go-to version for Let It Be, the song, is always the album version. I love that intense, biting guitar solo. It's crisp. It's strong. All the music, all the sounds, everything you hear, the church organ sound, so to speak, sounds really dominant in your face, as I call it, but really, really good, really bold. I love everything about the Let It Be mix. It's probably my favorite here. And I'm going to take a moment here to pause. You see, this is the issue here. Is this going to be my go-to album? Is this going to be my go-to version of Let It Be? Maybe in certain days, maybe not. I don't know. Like, what are you supposed to do? I mean, if you really love Let It Be, the song, and the quality here, if you love the Let It Be quality here, if you love the way I Me Mine sounds here, are you going to endure I Dig a Pony and Two of Us maybe not quite as much as you like it on other albums? That's the problem. Like I said at the beginning, hit and miss for me. Okay, then we go on to I've Got a Feeling. Fantastic. Another one of the top three here on this mix. I've Got a Feeling. It's a rocker. We know it rocks. I love this song. I love Paul's screaming. I love John's middle bit that he puts in there. Everybody had a hard year. This is one of the best of the improvements here. A triumph again. John and Paul's voices up front and strong. Checking my notes here, folks, okay? And Ringo's drums again. Ringo's drums, they pound fiercely and added to this. The guitar is stinging on this. It is a really good version, I Got a Feeling. I love it. Then we go to One After 909. I think One After 909 has never sounded better either. So we got some tracks here I'm really enjoying in this new mix. One After 909 never sounded better to me. Vocals are really, up front and strong. The guitars and drums, again, they're loud, intense, and not as overpowering as I said earlier in the album to my ears, but they sound so good. It's good to hear Ringo's drums like that. And also, I want to say, like, I don't know musicianship very well, folks. The keyboards, the piano, whether it's a piano or whether it's an electric piano or regular piano, whatever it is, the keys. Sometimes on my first listen, I thought, where is that? I couldn't hear them. I was waiting for them. I wanted to hear more dominant piano or organ, whatever. I wanted to hear that more because you always hear that tinkering away in the song. And you get used to hearing songs a certain way for like 50 years. And then all of a sudden, it's like, where'd it go? I miss... There's a little vocal subtlety that I used to hear, or a little echo or something, or a guitar string, or a piano key. It's not there. So sometimes it overwhelms us. But then later, as I say, I listened to this 3 times. Later on, I did hear, and I was able to appreciate that sound. I said, oh, there it is. By the second listen, I'm like, oh, I can hear it, yeah. So it was my initial impression, and later on it grew on me. So I like One After 909. Now, I regret to say that for me, I think The Long and Winding Road was a disappointment. I've heard a lot of positive things. A lot of people listen to The Long and Winding Road. They listen to it, I guess, on social media. And I don't go for that, folks. I mean, for me personally, some people got better systems than I have, but I really don't want to listen to these things on a computer. I want to hear them on the physical media to really make a decision. And for me, I thought that the orchestration that Paul never liked, that Phil Spector added, and I support it. I've always appreciated the hit single version with the orchestra by Phil Spector of Long and Winding Road. I like it. But on here, I thought that, to my ears, I thought that the orchestration was kind of overwhelming. Too overwhelming here, too broad up. I was surprised because I had thought that maybe Giles would want to subdue it a little bit to make Paul happier, because Paul never really loved that. But I thought it was overtaking Paul's vocals too much on my system. And I was disappointed in that a little bit. It's not terrible, but I wish Paul's voice was a little more predominant. And at the end, when he does that little ad-lib when he says at the end, "Don't keep me waiting," at the end. I didn't hear it. You had to really strain to hear that. That's what you lose some of the stuff in these mixes, and that's disappointing. So sorry to say that. Okay, For You Blue, a song which I forgot on the first recording of this that I'm plugging in now. For You Blue, I forgot it, and probably with good reason, because it's one of the least satisfying here. Again, the first time I heard it, thought it was too bombastic and loud and overpowering. When listening to the bass up and the volume up, it's too much. I did not really care for this particular version on this new remix of For You Blue. It's one of my least favorite tracks on this. And then we go to Get Back. Get Back, what can I say about it? It's a rocker. It sounds great. The drums, again, the drums are really fantastic and really brought up, I think. If there's one thing that's stand out in that track, and this version of it too, and this particular mix, is Ringo's drums. I mean, they really, it's amazing how rocking that is. So it was okay. I don't have a lot to say about it, but I did think it was pretty good. So I'm going to, that's my feelings on it. I'm going to flip the notes over. I have my notes here. So what do I think? Not my favorite of the Giles Martin remixes, but not the worst to me. So I might put this number 2. I might put Sgt. Pepper, Then Let It Be. Or maybe Abbey Road and Let It Be. But whatever, it's got its moments. And the moments are strong. And it's not bad. All right, so there you go. But what I really want to rave about is this. The next disc I'm going to talk about here is the Get Back version of the album by Glyn Johns. Glyn Johns did more than one version of mixes. And more than one version of this album, I think. And this was how it was going to come out. It was originally going to have, this project was going to be Get Back. Was going to be the name of it, not Let It Be. It wound up being Let It Be. It was going to be Get Back. And I loved this. I loved this. I loved every moment of this. To me, this is the highlight. I really wish, for some people that didn't buy the complete sets, I really wish they put this out separately, because a lot of people are going to miss the opportunity to get this. Now, it's not for everybody. I don't think everybody loves it. As a matter of fact, originally, the reason this never came out was because the Beatles themselves rejected this. They didn't really like it. They didn't want it, so eventually Phil Spector came in. But the thing that I like about this, the Glyn Johns version, is it retains the original concept. If the original concept was to do these songs live and raw with rough edges and warts, things like that, this is perfect for that goal. There's talking in between tracks. There's maybe a few mistakes and errors here and there. It's very much a live in the studio kind of thing. Now, if you have a lot of old bootlegs, which I do, dating back to, say, the 1970s or even 69 and early 70s, you'll recognize a lot of these tracks in this particular one. I don't know. People are asking me already, which Glyn Johns mix is this? The first one, the second one, which one is? I don't know exactly. Don't know everything, folks. But I will say this renders a lot of those early bootlegs obsolete. The sound quality is fantastic. This is stuff that anybody who collects bootlegs will know. I should mention at this point, which something I haven't said earlier, when it comes to extra tracks on here, bonuses, extras, rehearsals, raw versions, everything, fragments, snippets, jams. Most of this is stuff we've heard already on this, There's not much on here you're going to say, oh, I never heard that before, unless you don't have a lot of the bootleg stuff. There's nothing here that's really, some of it is different that I've never heard before. I was never one to be much into the Beatles' Let It Be bootlegs. To me, I was happy with Sweet Apple Tracks, Behind Closed Doors, Sweet Apple Tracks Volume 3. You get the picture. Some of the early Get Back to Toronto, all those kind of things. I was happy with some of those early ones, but I don't need everything. For me personally, this stuff gets a little bit repetitious or dull, downright dull, for me personally, to listen to 60 hours of this stuff, So I've never been one to be that familiar with it. But all right, let's go on to this. I'm very excited about talking about it on the Glyn Johns. It's different. A lot of the versions here are different from the ones we're accustomed to on the regular, normal albums. So some of them are different. I'm not going to talk about every track individually. I'm going to talk about some highlights. For example, Don't Let Me Down, for example, is different, and it's the version some of you may know when John says to Ringo at the beginning with the cymbals, "Give me a nice big psh, give me the courage to come screaming in." I love that bit. Now, this is the version we're using, and it's a great version. I call it the coochie 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 coo version in the middle, when John says she's done me good. You know, you got Billy Preston at the end, you know, playing around at the, you know, on the keys. I really love it, and it's that version that we're so used to hearing. And there's other songs like that, like maybe I'll just read some of them here off this. Save the Last Dance for Me, which, you know, I've Got a Feeling, you know, is a different version. And there's a lot of interjections, you know. I've got a feeling, yes you have, that keeps me on my toes. On your what? You know, that kind of stuff. Very raw stuff here. So let's go on to Teddy Boy. Teddy Boy is a Paul McCartney song, folks. I'm sorry, that I've never liked. I never liked Teddy Boy. Paul tried to do it during the Let It Be sessions, Get Back sessions. He never really finished it properly to suit him. And he put it on his solo McCartney album, the first album. And I just never liked Teddy Boy in any form. But this was always my favorite. The one here that's on the Glyn Johns version of the album is the only way I like listening to it. It's Paul going through moderately Teddy Boy, and then John finally breaks up the monotony by saying, "Take your partner, do-si-do," and he's choking around during it. That's the version here. You'll all remember it from early bootlegs. I'm so glad that that's included here. Now, another highlight on this particular version is Dig It, the longer version. Now, the actual full version of Dig It that we have on bootlegs is, I think, 8 minutes, about 8 minutes, give or take. 8 minutes, something long. The one that appears on the original album is like 50 seconds. I almost said minutes. 50 seconds. But we get one here that's kind of a compromise. We don't get the full 8-minute version, but we do get a version that runs about 4 minutes and change. And that's good. It's half of it. It's a longer version, not the full 8-minute version, but long enough. Still a good chunk, and it's fun. It's a rocker. It's ad-libs by John. It's so much fun. I'm glad to have it in this better quality. Dig it. Now, the Long and Winding Road here, this version has some different touches from the one we're used to hearing on the proper album, and it's without the specterized orchestra. Paul didn't want. So yeah, that's it. What can I say? A real highlight of the set, this Glyn Johns mix. You have to hear it. I don't think everybody will love it, but most people are telling me they've heard it and they love it already. You know, talking in between tracks, raunchy, closer to the original intent, not slick like the final release of 70 by Spector. So that's what I think makes it stand out. All right, now we're going to go on to this controversial thing. They included a 4-song EP. I'd rather have it than not, but there's only 4 songs on this. The songs are Across the Universe. It's the unreleased Glyn Johns remix. Across the Universe, it starts out with, you've heard it sometimes on bootlegs, Goodnight Richie. There's a Goodnight Richie at the beginning. It's not a standout for me. I have nothing to say about it. Then we have I Me Mine, unreleased Glyn Johns mix. I Me Mine ditto. I have nothing, not interesting to me. It's only about a minute and a half, because, you know, people may not know, but the song was never really finished. It was about a minute and a half, and then I think on January 3rd of 1970, you had Paul, George, and Ringo worked on it and tried to make it better for the release album, and Phil Spector managed to make it longer. He went from like a minute and a half to like two and a half minutes, or give or take. He made it longer, so this version here is like the original short minute and a half. It's not needed except for historical reasons. But I'm very happy with the other 2 tracks on here. First one they offer up is Don't Let Me Down. This is a Don't Let Me Down new mix of the original single. Now let me ask you something, folks. Anybody notice this? Even on the original B-side single of Don't Let Me Down, whenever you hear it, it starts out with like this, a little like, you know, dun, dun, dun. I'm sorry to sing and make noises, but dun, and there's like a sound that I always hear. Is it a tape? Hiss. I don't know, or is it an instrument that I'm not aware of? I always thought it sounded like something's shouldn't be there. This is a highlight, this version, Don't Let Me Down. It's the same exact version of the B-side of the single. However, it's the original one. I always thought the original really sounded a little too subdued, a little too laid back and quiet. This version enhances it, makes it louder, makes it, what's that term? In your face. It's a lot more just vibrant. It's the same version, but better. The only thing is, in addition to bringing it up, you hear that sound that I always have had at the beginning on the tape or something, a little more. I sometimes wonder if that's why the original single B-side version was brought down. I wonder if that's why. I don't know. Maybe they made it a little more subtle to hide that? I don't know. And Let It Be is also a new mix of the original single, and ditto. Except for the sound, Let It Be doesn't have that. I think it's a really nice quality. They take the single version, make it stand out even more. So I think this disc is worth it for Don't Let Me Down and Let It Be single. And of course, as much as people are complaining that it's only a 4-song EP, what's the point? People would be complaining if they didn't have the Let It Be, Don't Let Me Down single on here too, right? So look at it that way. Now let's move along here, because of course this video is going longer than I wanted, but it can't be avoided. I'll go through this up faster maybe. I'm going to go on to the Apple Sessions disc. This is Apple Sessions. This is another highlight disc. I like this disc. You know, it's another big winner as far as quality. You know, everybody, like I say, everybody has favorite bootleg tracks, and as I've said earlier, not everything is here, and not everything can be here. There's so many hours and hours and hours of material, and I say I don't want all of it anyway, so I'm happy with this. Let's go. Great sound on this. This is stuff like Two of Us, Take 4, which is nice. Maggie May / Fancy My Chances With You. It's short, but it's a fun ditty in the studio. Can You Dig It? A really fun, bouncy jam of Dig It. Trying to make a song out of it, I guess. It's a little jam. Can You Dig It? Short, leaves you wanting more, but it's fun. For You, Blue is a nice take 4. Then we have Let It Be, take 10, and along there, you get treated to Paul McCartney singing a little line or two of Please Please Me from their old days. Like I say, don't get all excited by seeing that title. It's just a fragment. You know, just a fragment of mentioning a little bit of the song. Nothing major. Okay, I've Got a Feeling, take 10. Good. Dig a Pony, take 14. It's still at this point the version where at the beginning, they're singing All I Want Is You, or Paul is singing the All I Want Is You intro. Now, one of the highlights on this disc to me is Get Back, take 19. It's a close to the finished version that you hear on the single. It's close to the single version. When Ringo comes back at the end, boom, boom, on the drums, that's the actual one that was used for the single. The beginning of the song is different than the single. But when Ringo comes back at the end, that's the one they used on the final record. And what I like about it is it then trails off with Paul really getting excited and doing an ad-lib coda, if you will. Oh, we got to get together. we got to get it together and all this kind of stuff that you hear at the end of the original 1970 Let It Be film. If you remember the closing credits, there's a little bit at the end when the credits are showing where you hear Paul doing this. That's this version. So this version has a little bit of everything. It has the beginning is something different that you don't usually hear. The drum roll is the original single, and then Paul's trail off wacky stuff I love from the Let It Be movie end. All right, that's a highlight. Then you get One After 909, take 3. What stands out to me is Billy Preston. I think it's Billy Preston. I want to make sure I get it right. He's playing all the piano and keyboards and stuff, right? So I love the tinkering around. You hear a lot of good tinkering on that version of One After 909, take 3. I love it. Don't Let Me Down is now on here with another version. Don't Let Me Down, the first rooftop performance. This is the version you see in the film, Let It Be, as it stands. The 1970 Michael Lindsay Hogg film. It's the part where John makes a mistake is in there. And Roll Reasley, Gobbley Blue Jago, or whatever he says. It's in there. It's in there. It's the mistake version. First rooftop performance. Nice to have. A lot of people are saying they want the whole rooftop. I'm sorry, they didn't give you the whole rooftop here, folks. Okay, then we have The Long and Winding Road, take 19. This is a beautiful, soft, bare bones version. Before Phil Spector would add any kind of orchestration. I love the Billy Preston bit, the solo in it. I think this is the version that appears in the Let It Be movie. When you see them do Long and Winding Road, I think this is the version. Then we have Wake Up Little Susie, Don't Get Excited, just a few seconds. I'll say, I don't care about little fragments. Wake Up Little Susie when they're done, you know. It's I Me Mine, take 11. Goes into I Me Mine, take 11. And it's an instrumental. It's interesting. Instrumental of I Me Mine. Okay, let's move on to the next disc, which has the same kind of cover. Rehearsals and Apple Jams. Rehearsal, again, there's a lot of fragments on here. If that's your thing, great. I'm not very big on, like, half-spirited rehearsals. That's why I don't like listening to a lot of, you know, Let It Be, Get Back stuff, because so much of it is just little bits and pieces and fragments, half-baked ideas. It just doesn't interest me, except historically. It's okay historical, but this is not a disc that I will be going to very often. Okay, there's a rehearsal at the beginning of All Things Must Pass. There are some, I should mention, there are some songs here you'll notice that, a couple of songs that went on into the solo careers. That's one of them. All Things Must Pass, rehearsal. I wish there was a better version. It's, you know, it's good to have here, but I think there are better versions of All Things Must Pass jams out there. I don't know. Next we have John's song, Give Me Some Truth. It's disappointing in that it's only a minute long, you know. It's not much, but, you know, he would go on to release Give Me Some Truth as part of his Imagine album in 1971. But it's interesting, very interesting to hear him working on it here. Then you have a short rehearsal of I Me Mine. Not much. Now here's some stuff that would later appear on the Abbey Road album, Fleshed Out. They do rehearsals of the following songs. She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, Polythene Pam. There's a wonderful version of Octopus's Garden. It's something of a highlight. It's short, but George asked Ringo if he's got any new words to that song, Octopus's Garden, yet Ringo plays a little on piano. And I hear some people kind of laughing in the background. I think it's the first time some people are hearing it. Maybe they think it's cute for Ringo to be writing a song. Nothing funny about it, in my estimation, but it's a highlight. Then we have Oh Darling, which will also be on Abbey Road later. It's an Oh Darling jam, and it's something like 5 minutes long. It's significantly long, and it gets into John later on adding that a little bit about Yoko's divorce finally just got through. It went through, and he kind of adds that to it. So that's the version we're getting there. And then we have Something. George working on something, asking, you know, Paul, what does he think would be a good word? And John offers up, just sing anything like, attracts me like a cauliflower. And then finally, George settles on pomegranate. Something the way she moves attracts me like a pomegranate. It's short. Now, here's one of my disappointments. You know, a lot of people, I said, are complaining, oh, why isn't this there? A lot of people are saying, why isn't the Commonwealth song on here? Why isn't Susie Parker on here? So many things we would have wanted. I'm disappointed that, you know my name, right? My name is Mean Mr. Mayo. I'm disappointed that one of my favorite ditties, Mean Mr. Mustard, isn't on here. On the bootlegs, like Watching Rainbows and some of the boots, there's a nice, good amount of John toying around with the words to Mean Mr. Mustard at the point when he was singing His Sister Shirley. And I'm guessing that those are from the Get Back sessions, not from the Abbey Road sessions. I would have liked to get some Mean Mr. Mustard on here. That's a major disappointment of these for me. Then we have Get Back, take 8. It's a nice, fuller take, you know, which should have been on the other Apple Sessions disc. I don't know why. It's kind of a more full take 8. Should have been on the Sessions disc, but that's a minor quibble. Then we have something here, 55 seconds. Anybody who has early bootlegs will know this is probably one of the main and most prominent staple tracks off many an early bootleg, and it's called The Walk, or Cat's Walk, or Can He Walk, you know, and Paul doing Can He Walk, you know, whatever he says. 55 seconds of goodness, finally out, officially. And we have something here called Without a Song. It's a jam featuring Billy Preston. Billy Preston on vocals. It's short, but it has Billy Preston on vocals with John and Ringo. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the final track here, Let It Be, Take 28. Gorgeous, gorgeous version. Again, I think this is the version that's seen when Paul's performing it in the Let It Be movie. Let's see. It's the version where he says, there will be no sorrow at the end. I was hoping they'd include that. So I'm pretty sure that's the one you see in the film. And that pretty much wraps this up, folks. Sorry to go on longer than I wanted. But, yeah. So I think overall this is a worthwhile pickup here. You know, are there things missing? Sure. There's always going to be things missing. I say go for it, you know. Your mileage may vary. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this release. The actual album, as I said, the album remix itself, you know, yes or no. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.